Hey, welcome guys. Today we're going to learn about equations with multiplying and dividing. Now the inverse of multiplying is dividing and the inverse of dividing is multiplying. Let's just talk about addition for a sec. The inverse of addition is subtraction and the inverse of subtraction is addition. You're going to undo the equation to find x, okay? Now, the whole goal of algebra and equations is you want to find x by itself. That's rule number one. And rule number two, in order to do that, you got to whatever you do on one side, you have to do on the other to keep it balanced. All right, guys, let's get started. We have 7y equals 42. Now I'll show you the way I learned it as a boy. We go 7y equals 42. Now the inverse of multiplying, 7y means 7 times y. The inverse of multiplying is dividing. So like a fraction bar is like dividing. 7 divided by 7 is 1, and 1 times y is y. So we've met our first criteria. Our first rule of algebra is to get y by itself. Now, in order to hold that true, whatever you do on one side of the equation, you have to do on the other. So I'm going to divide by 7 here. So now y equals 42 divided by 7, which is 6. Okay, and you want to get used to showing this work this way because this is just a one-step equation. You're going to do multi-step equations. And in order to undo it, this is the process known all around the world of how we do it. Now, EnVision sometimes does this. 7y divided by 7 equals 42 divided by 7. This here is the same as this. This is what I did as a kid. This is the way EnVision's showing you to do it. Both are correct. So if you know both ways, you're more well-rounded, for example. So in order to solve this equation here, we have to divide both sides by the coefficient, which is 7. So we always want to throw in that math vocabulary to make you, just like in reading, you want to be literate and know how to read. In math, you want to be math literate. You're math literate. You want to know your vocabulary. Okay, so divide both sides by 7 is what we're looking for there. All right. Well, I hope you're having a good day. Here in Cincinnati, Ohio, it is snowing, our first snow of the season. I'm recording this, I think, on December 1st. Yeah, December 1st. All right. So b divided by 14 equals 4. The inverse of dividing by 14 is multiplying by 14. C divided by 16 equals 4. The inverse of dividing by 16 is multiplying by 16. How you guys doing? Stay with me. They get harder, okay? Just do your homework along with me. 5 times y. What times 5? 5 times what equals 35? The inverse of multiplying by 5 is dividing by 5. Divide by the, what's that called? The coefficient. That's called the coefficient, guys. D divided by 2 equals 119. All right, let's jump into the algebra. D divided by 2 equals 119. The inverse of dividing by 2 is multiplying by 2. Now that cancels out to just D equals 119, and you have to multiply by 2 on this side, okay? So you're allowed to use a calculator for this. 238 is what I got. Okay. Okay. See, sometimes I'm so used to like the equations, and I think you might be too, of being on the left side. And here they're writing it like backwards, right, guys? They're writing it like this. That's a C, not a 0. Sorry. So you can still do it like this. So you divide by 500 on this side. That cancels. Divide by 500. And now you get C equals And I think it would be, see, watch this trick, the zero trick. Cancel out the zeros. And 20 divided by 5 is 4. Then you always want to check. So you always circle your answer. Your teacher probably wants you to circle it and then check. 500 times 4 is 2,000. Yep, that checks. So 4 right here. Just think, every math problem you do, you're just getting so much stronger. And I like to tell my students, every math problem you do, you get $5, but not now, when you're older and you have a job. So think of every math problem you're doing, you're making money, okay? Because we're just getting you that much smarter. It's not so much that you're getting smarter, it's that you're becoming a hard worker. Working hard is much more important than intelligence, I believe. So always work hard and do your best, and you're going to be just fine. And never give up, even when things are hard. The inverse of dividing by 3 is multiplying by 3 equals 105 times 3. Now these cancel out, and you get b equals 105 times 3. What I do is I go 3 times 5 is 15, and then 3 times 100 is 300. So I'll show you what I do. This is what I'm thinking in my head. 3 times 100 plus 3 times 5. So this is what is going on in my head. 300 plus 15. Okay? So I want to teach you how to be good at mental math too. All this clicking around, guys. Should always have a math notebook out in front of you doing these. I know you could probably look at this and say it's 24, but you just want to get used to just putting in the extra effort to show divide by 2, and then you get 48 equals t. There's an example of when they're writing the equation backwards. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not always a fan of having it that way. I'm old, and what am I? Okay, I'm talking while I'm doing it. Remember how I said it was 24? Do you ever rush through it too, guys? Elena made... Okay, sometimes I skip the directions and it gets me in trouble. So I guess I should read them. Write a division equation and a multiplication equation to represent the problem. Elena made $1,278 in 18 days. Let C represent the amount of money she made each day. If Elena made the same amount of money each day, how much money did she make in one day? All right, so let's talk about this. This is in 18 days. We want to know one day, and we want to have our answer be C. So we're going to first do a division equation to show that. I wonder if they're wanting this. 7/8 divided by 18 equals C. Now, an equation has an equal sign. An expression does not have an equal sign. So if they ask for an equation, make sure there's an equal sign there. Now, the multiplication is like a fact family, guys. So we're going to go 18 times C, which is the coefficient 18, the variable C, equals... Now, let's review your vocabulary. Guys, this is so important. 18 is the coefficient. C is the variable. Make sure that's always on some kind of test, okay? 18 times C equals this. And then to do it, you would divide by 18 on both sides, and you'd get that, and it would answer what C is. They want us to solve it? We can do it, guys. We know how. Diana earns, in 15 weeks, Diana earns $5,205 doing yard work. Wow, that's a lot of money. She earns the same amount each week. Let F stand for the amount earned each week. So write a division equation. So let F. Okay, so our variable is F. So $5,205 5 divided by 15, and then that will equal f. And then the multiplication one, you sort of go backwards with your fact family. Fact families are really important. 15 times f, 15 is the coefficient, f is the variable, equals 5,205. I guess I'll erase my underlining. Let's see. Jack has 1,932 toothpicks. He wants to use them all to make a floor mat with 12 equal rows. So we're going to divide by 12. Use the bar diagram to write a division equation, then solve. So let's see what the bar diagram looks like. Okay. So in these, this is your whole amount, and you're going to divide by 12, and you're going to get t. This is where the variable goes. So this is multiplication and division. So it's this divided by this equals t, or 12 times t equals that. See how it's like a triangle? Have you ever seen those triangle fact families when you were younger? So choose the correct equation. 1,932 divided by 12 equals t. And you're allowed to do this in a calculator. Kelsey and her 3 sisters spent an equal amount of time cleaning their home. Their parents added their time. They found that the 4 girls spent a total of 20 hours cleaning. Let C be the number of hours each person spent cleaning. Kelsey writes the equation 4C equals 20 to model the situation. To solve for C, which operation should Kelsey use? So the inverse of multiplying is, what do you think? That's right, dividing. So you're going to divide by 4 here, divide by 4 here, and you get 20 divided by 4 is 5, and 4 times 5 is 20. So divide by the coefficient, 4. Coefficient. What? What's going on, guys? Did I miss something? Oh, check answer. Claire traveled 701 miles. She drove 81 miles every day. On the last day of her trip, she only drove 53 miles. Write and solve an equation to find the number of days Claire traveled. Explain each step of your problem-solving strategy. First subtract to find the number of miles Claire traveled on the days she drove 81 miles per day. So here's the thing on this one. I remember my students doing this. This is every day, and then this is only on the last day. So let's get the last day out of here. So we're going to do 701 minus 53. 648. So now, watch this, guys. Basically, let me just write this out for you. 81 miles times d, coefficient variable, 81 times d, and then plus 53 miles equals 701 miles total. This is called a two-step equation. We're going to first subtract 53 on both sides, and that's what they demonstrated above for us, okay? And we get 648. So now in our two-step equation, guys, we have 81d equals 648. You see that? Because this canceled out. So now we're going to divide by 81. Divide by 81. Now we're doing algebra. Oh, yeah. This is awesome stuff, guys. And you're going to learn this process of doing this. Isn't this cool? D equals 8. The number of days equals 8. And then you always want to check. 81 times 8 plus 53 equals 701. All right. So what EnVision's doing is it's taking you each step. You're not quite doing all of this yet. Don't worry. Does this look intimidating? It's really fun to do. I'll teach you how to do it. Don't worry. So now we have 81D equals 648. They're taking you each step. And now you divide by 81 on both sides, and you get 8 days. Man, that's fun. This is good stuff. Guys, we're getting into some good stuff here. Oh, I love it. I love it. Now, when I was first learning it, I didn't really understand it as well. Okay, so it was 8. Now, look at this, guys. Did this happen to you too? Remember, D was 8, but then we had that extra day of 53 miles, so it's going to be 9, right? Did you make that mistake too, like I did? EnVision even tricks me sometimes. Usually because I'm rushing through it. Sometimes I rush through my work. A theater sells 14,160 tickets for 60 sold-out showings of the same concert. Write a division equation you can use to find the number of people who bought tickets for each showing. Use what you know about dividing with larger numbers to solve the equation. Let T be the number of people who bought tickets for each showing. Choose the correct division equation below. All right, so this many tickets for 60 concerts. So you're doing this many tickets divided by 60. Let me see. This many tickets, divided by 60 equals the number of tickets sold. Okay, now sometimes, guys, they're going to have this 60. They're going to have 60 times T equals, that will be the answer sometimes too. They might have one where you have to pick 2 and you'd have to make a fact family. And you could also do T times 60. That's the commutative property equals. So you could also do that. And then this one is also one of them. 14,160 divided by T equals 60. So those 4 would all be correct because of fact families. Okay, let that sink in when I do this. Type it in right, Jason. 14,160 divided by 60 equals 236. Hooray! We're almost done, guys. Last winter, Edmond's school used 2,280 pounds of rock salt to melt ice on its parking lot. Kind of like today because it was snowing. First snow of the season, kind of exciting. And I almost slipped coming in. One bag contains 20 pounds of rock salt. Choose yes or no to tell which of the following equations can be used to find how many bags of rock salt B Edmond School used last winter. So this many pounds of rock salt, and then you're going to divide by 20 to get B. Yep, that is true. Oh, they're going to do fact families. I was just saying this, right? And now you have to do 20 times B to get this. So this is 1. And then, okay, let's look up here. You could also divide by B to get 20. Yep. Wasn't I just saying this? And then, the other multiplication one would be this, guys. Watch. B times 20 equals 2,280. But look at what they're trying. That's the commutative property. Commutative property. Commutative property. That's where you switch them. That's where you switch them. They're trying to trick you. That is not it. Okay. Wow, did we do it, guys? I think we did it. think we completed it. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Keep doing your math. I'll see you later. Thanks for hanging out with us today.